If I could have your attention, please, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Quapaw Nation Business Committee regularly monthly meeting for Saturday, September 17th. And I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 9:12 a.m. If we could have Michelle go ahead and give our blessing.
Dear Father, Lord, we thank you, Lord, for this day, and I just thank you, Lord, that we can come together as a nation, Lord, to discuss business for our people, Lord, and everything, Lord, that we've been blessed with. We just ask, Lord, that you'll guide and direct this meeting, Lord, our words, our actions, our decisions, and we're just going to give you all the glory, Lord, for all that you do for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Michelle. If we could have our roll call and declaration of quorum, Madam Secretary Treasurer.
Michelle,
Present.
Zach,
Here.
Wayne is here, Joseph,
Present.
Callie,
Present.
Mike,
Present.
quorum declared.
Okay, we have a quorum, thank you. Next item on the agenda, reading, correction, and approval of the August 20th, 2022 Business Committee minutes.
I will move to approve.
We have a motion by Vice Chair to approve,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention?
Aye.
One abstention by Mr. Turley, and I believe the ayes have it. Approval of minutes has been approved. And now reading, correction, and approval of our e-polls. If somebody could be so kind to resuscitate those for us.
The first one is for that was requested by Charles Addington. It was for a tribal access program grant application resolution. The approval to apply to the Department of Justice Tribal Access Program, grant application to assist our Marshal Service, Central Dispatch, Tribal Courts, Probation and Parole, Sex Offender Programs, Social Services, and Human Resource Offices with ensuring that they protect our children and communities. And that was that approved unanimously. The next one is a QCS Case Management Coordinator job description revision. The job description revisions, the title changed from Case Manager to Case Management Coordinator, and updated the essential job duties. And that was also approved. The next one was for a revocable use permit for the use of the scale house and scales by the Quapaw Service Authority of the Quapaw Nation in cooperation with the United States Environmental Protection Agency to assist in cleanup efforts of the Tar Creek Superfund site, and that too also was approved. The next one, this poll was being requested by Trenton to approve a resolution to initiate a deed of trust acquisition on the former Hart property, and this was approved. This one was from our ICW case manager, Shauna Gray. It's permission for an adoption, and this was approved. The next one was Infinium migration from downstream server per QNGA director, and it's basically just in the works of making sure that everything is separated from downstream and Saracen, and this is the last of it here, and that was approved. The next one is the Intertribal Buffalo Council Delegates Resolution, and those delegates representatives would be Chairman Byrd, Mitch Albright, and TJ Rogers, and that was approved. And the last one was a tribal member utility dispute, and that was approved as well.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I'll entertain a motion to approve those e-polls.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mike, second by Zach.
Second. Yeah.
Have a second by Zach. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the e-polls are approved. Next up is the approval or disapproval of the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion to approve by Mr. Turley,
Second.
second by Ms. Supernaw. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the treasurer's report is approved. Next up, we have approval, disapproval of directors and subcommittees reports submitted.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Secretary Treasurer,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the directors and subcommittee reports submitted are approved. Dropping down to the chairman's report, I'd like to, it has been requested of me to give a update on the Bears settlement. And as many of you may know, Congress goes into recess for their August month. And during the month of August, since they're not there, it's sometimes easier to contact and get in touch with their staffers and the people within the halls of Congress that facilitate their meetings and keep their schedules. I had a conversation with the House Natural Resources Committee, and they said that there was still some work to be done, specifically within the Republican contingent. And we said if there was anything that we should be doing and could be doing, and so they advised and recommended that we take a more, a strategic approach to getting in those meetings and in those halls, specifically with our Republican counterparts. I will say that with them reconvening in September, they're still coming back and they're dealing with inflation and all the other problems of the world that we're experiencing here at a local level. But they also have the November primaries that they're considering as well. And so I foresee us having to take a more strategic approach and hard effort to re-educate and make aware what this means to the Quapaw people, to our congressional delegations, not just within Oklahoma. I consider our congressional delegations also representatives in the state of Arkansas. They are very friendly to our cause. They are aware, but interestingly enough, it's all the other congressmen that make up that House Natural Resources Committee from different parts of the country. So we're going to have to lean in and do a more focused approach in getting that and bringing that home. I will say that preliminarily there is support from the Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. I've had conversations with her staff as well. Nothing formalized or on the books, more like if I'm at a conference or if I have a minute of time, I'm sure to bring it up. But I'm hopeful, and we will keep you posted as we continue along. Moving on to the Saracen Casino, our year-to-date realized savings is a total of $19.7 million in interest expense under our new refinance structure, and that's compared to the previous year. I will say that although inflation has impacted our operations in Arkansas as well as here at home, these savings that I'm talking about still enables a large portion of our development to be paid through cash flow and utilization of our current credit facility. So that's good news. Our EBITDA for fiscal year to date is $58.3 million, which has outpaced the prior year, equaling basically an increase of 15% from the previous year, so that's good news. The Hotel and Event Center, you've heard us talk about that construction and that phasing because of what we're experiencing as a business entity over there, and again here at home with inflation and increase in supply chain or impact to supply chain. We're expecting the Saracen development to be delayed until sometime next year in 2023. We want to take a focused approach to making sure we got enough money in the bank to do it responsibly. And with the downstream casino, our EBITDA year to date is down slightly compared to the previous year. However, we had a record year in the previous year. But due to our reduction in our interest expense under our new debt facility for them, it's a normalized net income of $12.4 million year over year. So that's also good news for the downstream. We are required to make a $10.7 million principal payment at the end of this month, and on top of that $10.7 million, we will be making an additional payment, bringing our total debt eliminated at the end of this fiscal year to a little over $100 million. And we fully anticipate that sometime by next month, our $10 million dividend cap back to the tribe that we've had for the last 13 years will finally be lifted. And from there, we're beginning to take those first steps into what I would call financial freedom on our gaming enterprises. And what that means for us, for you, for the business committee, the potential, we're looking at what to do with those increased funds now back to the tribe. We're looking at increased utilities. We're looking at increased employee compensations, and we're also looking at increased health insurances and other benefits, social programs back to our tribal citizens. And so these are exciting times for the downstream, exciting times for Saracen, and that's what I have for my chairman's report. So thank you. Subcommittee reports. First up, we have the Constitution Committee, Mr. Roman Cahiga. Do we have him? We do. Okay.
Good morning, can you hear me?
There we go. We can hear you, sir.
Excellent, thank you. So, Constitution Committee was prepared to give an entirely different report this morning than what we're about to report. The last 48 hours has been a little chaotic for us. We received a new written opinion from our council that suggests the election ordinance is actually the prevailing document that we should be following when amending the governing resolution. This kind of sets us back in the way of what we were approaching or what our approach was, but in the long run, it's going to help us in being able to allow the balloting measures to take place without us having to go back and vote on this at a special general council. So what this does is it presents a number of new dynamics for us that we just don't have completely figured out right now. What we do know is that we can still proceed with October 22nd as being an in-person special meeting. And we do know that there won't be any vote taking place by way or that's going to solidify anything in the governing resolution. We can anticipate that at that meeting, a vote can take place on wording of what would be voted on for the amendments to the governing resolution. And we're also anticipating that we need at least 100 people to show up so that we can have a petition signed and presented to the business committee. So have figured out right now. There are, probably going to be some more, dynamics we need to figure out in execution. But that's what we can expect going forward. We will also have two online opportunities via Zoom for anybody to participate in what we would be presenting for recommendation to vote on. And that would include the previous items that were submitted to General Council in person and future items. Hopefully by the 22nd we could have a number of new items to present and converse about also. So that's kind of where we've been with these past couple of days. I think that, again, this is going to help us in the long run in this process. The election ordinance is a lot more detailed in procedure than the governing resolution is. It's suggested that the governing resolution section 14 actually no longer is recognized by way of the election ordinance, as the election ordinance supersedes any election law. And amending the governing resolution would be quote unquote an election. So that's where we are right now. I know it's kind of a wrench in the process, but again, we think that this is going to play out better for us as a nation. And that's all I have right now. Open any questions. We would like to have a meeting with the business committee in its entirety though, because this, and the chair of the election committee, possibly the entire election committee or whoever they suggest, because this is going to be a concerted effort with everyone and what the actual process should and shouldn't be, because while the special election in the governing resolution could be called by the chairman, the election ordinance suggests that it is called by the business committee. But we still need that petition, so we just need to make sure we have all of our I's dotted and T's crossed in that process.
Anything else, Roman?
No, that is it right now. I'll be sending an email out to everybody with a proposal of a meeting date, and of course we'll be open to additional suggestions.
Anybody have any questions for Roman? No? Okay, so just to re-clarify, October 22nd for this special general council meeting that was called, there will not be a vote on amending the governing resolution or the election ordinance, but it'll be more so to take language suggestions of that nature. And really it sounds more like dialogue and discussion in that forum, but there still needs to be participation by at least 100 tribal members. Is that correct, Roman?
Correct, and
Okay.
if we don't get the 100, I mean, we'll go knock on the door, so we'll get the 100 signatures that we need.
Okay. And then you mentioned you'll follow up with an email on a subsequent meeting scheduled with the BC.
Correct,
Okay.
and election committee.
And election committee. Okay, good. Okay.
Roman, as we know, I did have one question for you pertaining to the 100 participants in the October 22nd Special General Council. Is that members or registered voters or either one?
Registered voters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that report, Roman. Did you have anything else? Next up, we have Emergency Financial Assistance Committee, Mr. Larry Mercer.
Only thing I have is we have 2 more weeks and we are, for the second time in 12 years, we will end up in the red. But we are helping tribal members.
Any other there? Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah. And we had a cultural committee update, but it appears she is not here as of yet, so maybe she can come and present during the open forum portion. Dropping down to donations. If someone could take that up, please.
Yeah, the first one is the Ottawa County Santa Claus program, and Jerry is here.
This is the 43rd year of the Ottawa County Santa Claus program. Last year, illness got me and had to turn everything over to Toys for Tots, but have a crew together this year. I'm working with Rick Aldridge through emergency preparedness. I sub off him because there's no need in me doing all the tax exempt stuff for just 3 months, 3 to 4 months. So we sub off from him, and he has got me in contact with Mattel, a toy distributor that I can get toys at half price and everything. And I'm just looking at a big year this year. It's mainly Ottawa County, but I go into Cherokee County, Jasper, and Newton, and part of Craig County. But 99% of my kids are Ottawa counties. And I was just asking if you guys would like to be a supporter this year.
It was a different program you were with last year, wasn't it?
No, Toys for Tots is who took it over, but it's the Jerry Coach Ottawa County Santa Claus program.
What was the amount in years past? Does anybody recall?
I'll make a motion to donate $1,000.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair to donate in the amount of $1,000 and a second by Mr. Turley. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the donation for the Santa Claus program is approved. Thank you.
I'll take the next one. The next one is for a food backpack program from the First Presbyterian Church. It's a program that provides much-needed assistance to students at Roosevelt Elementary School. In the past, the Quapaw Nation has donated $1,000. The backpack program provides basic needs to students. They receive 2 breakfasts, 2 snacks, and 2 dinners. I will make a motion to donate $1,000 again.
Okay.
A second.
We have a motion to donate $1,000 and a second. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the donation request for the First Presbyterian backpack of food is approved. Thank you.
Montana is here. She's here, Mr. Chairman.
We have our next donation request, Montana Elmer, if you could.
Good morning. My name
Morning.
is Montana Elmer. First, I want to thank the Quapaw Nation Business Committee and the tribal members for their support in reaching my goal for the Columbus Rodeo Queen. With your support, I was able to raise over $5,000 in sponsorships and tickets. But thank you. I qualified to compete for state in trap, skeet, and sporting clays for 4-H. And I watched my brother compete several times at state, and was able to reach my goal in trap and skeet. I've been practicing for years and competing, and this is the first year I've made it. And I was requesting $500 for the lodging and gas and meals. And I will wear a Quapaw Nation shirt and submit a newsletter article.
Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
first of all. Yes.
I'll make a motion for the 500.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Turley, second by Ms. Newton. Any discussion? Again, motion was to donate the 500 request. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the donation request is approved. Good luck, Montana.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Represent.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Congrats.
I may have to challenge you to a shoot off. Yeah.
Next up, we have River Bottom Sportsman, Mr. Richardson. Mike.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is our annual donation request to Quapaw Nation. You guys have been donating to this event since the beginning of this event, which was in the late 2000s. We take paralyzed, disabled veterans out in track chairs into the woods and let them hunt deer. We feed them for 3 nights. We put them in a hotel. We provide them camouflage, license, all that every year. It's a pretty special event.
How many normally are there?
We take 7 hunters.
Oh, 700.
7 hunters.
And when will
It's
that
a lot of work to take.
It's in
Two
the
guys
muzzleloader
out.
season,
It's a deer hunt.
in October.
We load our UTVs up, pull trailers, put the track chairs on trailers, pull them out there, put them in the track chairs. And we built blinds just to fit the track chairs in and stuff like that. Of course, my favorite story was we had a paraplegic who had to use a puffer to shoot a gun. And to this day, he's killed the biggest buck we've ever had.
Well, I will make a motion to donate the $1,000 again.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair to donate the requested amount of $1,000 and then a second by Mr. Shawnee. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the donation request is approved.
Thank you.
Yeah. Keep up the good work, Mikey. Do we have Misty here?
James here.
Jamie, you want to talk on?
And with the Quapaw Nation, we've changed it from breast cancer awareness, we've changed it to the Cancer Awareness Committee to assist tribal members with any type of cancer, not just breast cancer now. And we're going to have a chili feed at the next farmer's market with Michelle on October 7th, and we're requesting a ground beef donation for that.
I will make a motion to make that donation, but we've also been discussing, we would like to donate a Quapaw Nation Pendleton blanket for like an online raffle to see if you can raise some money that way too.
Okay.
So I would like to add that to the request on the motion.
I'll second.
Stevie, you have that?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion by Vice Chair to accept the request, and then second by Ms. Newton, and also with the addition of the blanket for purposes of raffle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the request is approved. Thank you, Jamie.
I will let you know, we do have an online auction going right now for these scoreboards in the old picture gym. So we are doing those. October 27th is our annual silent auction that we do, where we request departments to donate baskets, and then people come in. We're gonna be selling caramel apples, doing things like that. We're trying to get a date set for our garage sale, and also a turkey shoot. So that's gonna be something new. In the past, it was just October that we raised funds, but now we're trying to do something every month. So be watching for us. We'll be asking for you guys to give us money. And we do have an application now. If there is any tribal members out there, get a hold of Misty Scott, is the head of our committee, or you can contact me as well. We have that application just as a more record keeping purposes. So that is out there. So holler at us if you know of anybody or are currently yourself fighting any type of cancer.
Jamie, how do folks, I guess, place their bet or
On the bid,
on the
on the
bid?
auction?
Yeah.
So it's only on our Cancer Awareness Facebook page, and we're only accepting bids on that one post.
Okay,
And currently, the auction that we have going will end Monday at 4. So the one that we sold last week was $1,300, and it was the smaller scoreboard.
Okay.
That was one. We're already up to $1,100 on the current scoreboard, and then we have a wooden memorabilia board. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it says Picture Gorillas and has the gorilla on it. So, but then after we finish that, we can do the Pendleton auction that way as well, if that's okay with you guys.
that's fine. And is there a time specific on the 4th for the
When it
cutoff?
ends.
Oh,
Is it like midnight
it's
or-
at 4 p.m. on Monday, but 1 full minute has to pass for the final bid. So at 3:59, I mean, it was just back and forth until like 4:15 until we got the final bid, and nobody else bid on it. So until 1 full minute passes.
Okay.
It's kind of fun if you want to get on there and watch the bids roll in.
Bidding war.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We have the open forum part of the agenda. However, we do have our culture committee chair in pocket now. Would you be prepared to speak? Is that okay? Okay, great. Ms. Carrie B. Wilson.
Report on the cultural committee.
Yes.
Yeah, I sent you things last night, and so. But, we are discussing, the Museum of Native American Heritage, in Bentonville is having a thing September 20th, that they're going to show the movie that was previewed here at the Coleman Theater. It's going to be shown down there, and they wanted Quapaws to attend. If you were so like inclined, and I think that's 5:30 on Tuesday. And then I'm having a Arkansas Archaeological Survey appreciation dinner. The Arkansas Archaeological Survey has helped out the Quapaw NACRA program as well as the Tribal Historic Preservation program. And we have a new director, so we kind of got off track at some point. We have a new director. We really need that collaborative relationship that we have with them. So I've invited tribal administration and tribal business committee members to come down, some of the cultural committee members, to put on this dinner for them to show us that our relationship is two-way street. We're able to go in and help them with their collections. We're repatriating their collections from us. They have a lot of our items down there, and they don't charge us anything for conservation, storage, that kind of thing. And I can go in and use the registrar's office, and it's just a really valuable relationship. So we're gonna go down and have this appreciation dinner on Thursday.
It's 22nd.
So I sent you schedule somewhat, to look at that and alternative facilities. Veterans Day is coming up, and so the Culture Committee, the Business Committee is going to have a dinner on November 11th for Quapaw Tribal veterans. But the Cultural Committee is going to have a brunch on Wednesday or Thursday before the 11th for all veterans who are employees of the Quapaw Tribe. And so we're planning for that. Yeah, that will be nice. Then we have the big thing that's coming up. Well, we got one other thing. We're going to have a cookbook, and we're working with the Cancer Awareness Committee and pulling our resources, and we're gonna have a joint cookbook, Quapaw cookbook coming out sometime. Betty Gaffney's heading that up on the Quapaw cultural side. Big thing is the fall gathering, and we're going to have it November 20th at, that's on a Sunday at the pavilion. And a lot of things are going on that Saturday. So they had other plans on that day. So Sunday works out pretty good because schools have been coming out with their vacations and that kind of stuff. So I think it'll work out. And it's going to be centered around social dances and stop dances. And we're going to have demonstrations on how to put the shells on and how to shake the shells for young kids. And hopefully get stop dancers and stop dance leaders can teach the younger people how to chorus, maybe some etiquette. And then we've got to have a series of booths that we're going to set up and games. And I also want to teach the social dances. So Quapaws have the social dances, but they're really no longer done. And before they're just completely died out, I'd kind of like to see them revive. So we're going to invite the Shawnees and maybe some Caddos and Senecas who all do Quapaw dance and have them teach us again. And so maybe this time it won't get lost. I think the last time we really did those dances was probably in the 70s. So we're going to do that. We're going to have games. We've got a hand game scheduled, dice tournaments, foot races, since it's in the pavilion. We're going to have stick horse races for adults and kids, and a cakewalk.
Taking bets.
Yeah, we're going to take bets too. We're going to time them. We may have barrel races. Then we have booths set up for face painting, and we're going to make. We're talking about making molds and putting the paper mache in the molds of Quapaw kind of symbols and things, and the kids can paint them and take them home with them. And so that'll be kind of fun. Cornhusk angels, lanyard keychains, you can make it out of those pony beads and things like that. We're going to have vendors, and the Quapaw vendors can set up for free. However, they may be hit up for donations for our prices. So, and we're gonna have food, and it'll go through downstream casinos. Kind of thinking along the lines of November, maybe chili dogs and Indian tacos and that kind of thing. And we will need volunteers, and we will need prizes, and we will have door prizes too. And if anybody thinks of anything interesting, as a games or what you'd like to see done, get in touch with me, and and share your ideas with us, because this is a new frontier for me. So. Any questions?
What time does all of this, are you thinking?
We're
Start.
thinking it may start as early as 10.
Okay. An all-day affair.
So it ought to be all day fair. Anything subject to change at this point.
Sure.
We're gonna have 2 meetings in October rather than just the one, so we can kind of get our planning organized and stuff. We've already reserved the pavilion. I have talked to Christy King and chef, so they're all on board. We're gonna get a layout this week of the pavilion so we can kind of manage things. So if you have any interest on vendors, get in touch with Carolyn Knott because I put her in charge of that as of today.
Does she know?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she has been recruited, she knows
Okay.
now. Oh, also, we're going to have we want to establish, Bill Griffin's kind of heading this up, a Quapaw color guard. So younger people under the age of 55, and if they're interested in pass the word. We're talking about having a meeting October 2nd here. They'll be on Sunday at 2:00. And we're gonna send out, we have a list of locals that we're going to send invitations to. Able-bodied recruits, I think is what they're saying. Anything else?
All good things. I just want to clarify a couple things. November 11th, it sounded like there was 2 different happenings.
No, you guys will be November 11th, the dinner specifically for the Quapaw veterans.
In the
It will
evening.
be at the pavilion, right?
Yes, for
And then we're going
Nation
to have a
members.
brunch Wednesday or Thursday before, I think November's 11th on a Friday, right?
Yes.
Then we're gonna have a brunch for the veterans who are employed by the Quapaw tribe.
employees of the Quapaw Nation.
So brunch time, like 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
What day was that?
The day
We haven't
before?
set a date yet.
11.
Okay.
That's
Either
lunchtime.
that Wednesday or Thursday, so then 9th or 10th.
Maybe 10 o'clock.
Are you, I'm sure you've discussed this with your committee, but your cook arrangements, food arrangements, has that all been taken care of for next Thursday?
I'm the cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about your fire?
I've recruited Brenda over there, and she's really good at making chicken and dumplings, and Carolyn's gonna help. And
Great. Okay. Your fire? You got your fire good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Layden's gonna help with the fire, and maybe help with the smoke.
Okay.
And then, I will recruit probably Michelle, Weena, and Callie.
I've learned a lot from her already. It's all good.
All right.
Yeah, anything else?
Do you have well, you sent us the details on that, I assume, for the time start.
Yeah, we're gonna start a little late, about 2:30, and then we maybe get really started at 3, you know
Okay.
how it goes.
Yeah, okay.
And, but yeah, everybody's excited down there, they're really happy, we have, I said, Carrie and Fred, oh, okay, we're coming, so. And,
How many people are you expecting to feed?
between you guys and the survey, probably about 75,
Okay. That'll be a good event then.
yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to have the items on display from the Wallace Bottoms, Lake Dumont excavations, and we're gonna have presentations by them. And I've never seen all of those items. I mean, it won't be everything, but it'll be, the select ones, and I've never seen that stuff, so I'm really kind of interested in it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but never a collection. And before all these guys are totally retired and things, I would like to see maybe work on doing further excavations down there. Like, we're looking for the Arkansas Post and where the Quapaw villages were. And so before everybody retires, I like to see the newer people have an interest, and a renewed interest in trying to find our Quapaw villages.
Absolutely.
So-
It's important. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that report. At this time, I would like to call attention to our tribal members and relatives that have passed on. Those individuals I'll call now: David Shawnee, Linda Forsyth, Kyle Robertson, Clifton Adam Beard, Jeremiah Truster. And if anybody has any other names they'd like to add to that, I'll take those now. Yes, sir.
I think yesterday there was a good eagle that's fast.
That's right. Thank you, Henry. And Ronnie Good Eagle as well. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, at this time, if you could bow your head in reverence and a moment of silence, please. Gonna get. I have three announcements today. I just want to reiterate what Jamie said earlier about the chili feed on October 7th. Okay. And then also don't forget to vote today for the vacant seat for business committee in the special election. And good luck to all the candidates. And I want to wish a happy birthday to our Secretary Treasurer, Sweeney Superdog.
Happy birthday.
Michelle has volunteered to sing. Happy birthday. But those are all the announcements I have.
Mr. Chairman, I did have a couple of things, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
So first is kind of a public service announcement. As you know, Mike and I have been going through a pretty rigorous and well-organized orientation to get to meet some of the directors and learn more about the programs and some of our physical facilities. But we have a hidden gem among us that I'd like to advertise, and that is the Downstream Clinic. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that facility with zero copay, and they don't do everything, but they do provide a variety of services. It's not only open to downstream employees and their spouses, but it's also available to tribal members and spouses. Same for tribal government employees and spouses, and the Quapaw Casino employees and spouses. So they are open Monday through Friday, for the most part 8 to 5. They have later hours. They're open until 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, and they close an hour early at 4 o'clock on Fridays. And they do close every day for lunch between 12 and 1, but it is available to all of us. So for those who are planning on taking the elder trip that's coming up here around the corner, there's a medical release form, so I plan to take my little medical release down to the Downstream Clinic so that they can do whatever it is they do and sign off on that. But that is a service available to us free of charge. Okay. And then the second thing was last month we talked about some of the subcommittees. Chairman requested those who were interested in joining some of the subcommittees to please contact us. We did meet this last week to review membership, the stipends, as well as any new committees that might be needed. We did make recommendations on 10 new committee members across 3 different committees. We did agree to commence a children's committee comprised of 7 individuals. Now, we're still in the process of connecting with those recommended committee members as well as the chair, so we'll announce the name once that process is complete. So good progress to report on the subcommittees.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right.
All right, I got a question, Chairman. You were talking about Bear and the situation with that, and interestingly enough, considering I don't really care about it, I am questioning why either yourselves or have you not thought of selecting a committee to go to Washington, D.C. and be the voice for the people on the Bear case?
Yes, it's been considered. That has been thought of. It hasn't been fleshed out. But yeah, that's been considered. And, we as elected business committees, I myself have gone several times. Vice Chair has gone. Former Secretary Treasurer has gone. So we've had efforts on knocking on the halls of Congress. But yeah, I'm not going to say we're back to the drawing board, but yeah, we're open to those more efforts being put forward by more business committee members, perhaps but yeah, it's been considered.
I was gonna suggest the same thing, and if we don't go, one thing we could do is to release the committee names and addresses and have everybody write to those committee members, swamp them with letters and emails. And then if we could get a committee together and just go in there and be in the halls and let them see us.
Absolutely. I think that's a good recommendation, and yeah, we can put that forward. We can gather those names, those subcommittee members, and start papering their inboxes as best we can.
Have somebody write up a sample letter that we
Sure.
could go off of.
Sure. Yeah, good suggestion. Thank you, Deb.
And no offense to any of you, because I have a problem with our tribal members who do not show up, but expect to hold you accountable, but they're not accountable for themselves because they don't show up to hold you accountable for what they want you to do for all of us. That's probably the biggest thing I have a problem with right now, is seeing the division within our people that is causing more issues and problems than actually showing up and being accountable themselves. But they want to hold you accountable. If we're your boss, your bosses should be here to see the work that you're doing. It's very frustrating, but I'll tell you right now, it's a good day to see how many people are in here. And I'm very frustrated to see one person isn't here. And you're her boss. But she pretends to be your boss. And she's not. Her position was given by the business committee. You're over the administration building. You're over the tribal administrator. And of all people that should be held accountable for the way that they treat not only our tribal employees, but our tribal members, should be held accountable as our tribal administrator. And no one from any committee has held her accountable. And I say that as not only a former tribal employee, but as a tribal member. And as someone who gives the most heart for every single one of these 5,000 members in every aspect. And I'm livid for the way that she has gone on all these years and has hurt tribal members to the point where they have quit, walked away, given up, because nobody has seen her in the way that we have seen her. I've gone out there every year, before, during, and after election, powwow season, all of the above. And I know when you walk through that door, you could cut the air with a knife, because people are walking around with fear, resentment, that they might lose their jobs for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. To me, that's wrong. Our people are first and foremost, and we have many tribal members and non-tribal members who work for us, who have worked for us for many years, who've bled, cried, prayed, and laughed with us, and celebrated with us. And they have been treated as less than human And it's a despicable act because we keep allowing it to happen. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Abigail.
Have we thought about, maybe putting together a plan for like a tribal member or an employee advocate for situations such as this? I feel like that's where a lot of the problems lie is when an employee is terminated or quits or whatever it may be, you hear about the book, you know, they've got this book on this employee. But is there a point that we take into consideration the past employee's book? I think the tribal member advocate would really help in that situation.
I would just like to add, I don't know what else to say to this, but there is a process that is laid out with everything we do in the nation. With, you know, for grievances for employees and for tribal nation members. It's just nobody ever follows through with that procedure. So when everything is followed through, everybody is heard, and then, you know, a decision is made. So I just would like to see the process work itself out. That's, you know, the wheels are spinning, and let's just do our investigation.
Are you speaking of the appeal process?
Yes.
So the appeal process is HR, tribal admin, business.
But then it skips right over them. If it involves those two, it comes straight to us.
But that's what I'm meaning, like, there has to be a point where, I mean, we know, right, that, if you're a director, let's say you're a director, well, if employees quit, they're gonna have an issue. And this goes for HR and for you guys as well. Like, there's gonna be people that have an issue, right? They're mad because they got terminated or whatever. That's understandable. But I think the employee advocate would really help with that process because, when you're sitting in a room in that appeal process, you're there by yourself, or, you know, you're there against 4 people who can say, yep, this is what happened here, this is exactly how it was. And that's not really fair to the employee.
I'd like to add to that as well. It's hard to skip over your HR and your admin when we don't know you. Like, as an employee, I worked for the tribe for 6 years, part-time and full-time, for the daycare. And I know, I think maybe for a year you guys were on board, but I now work for the Peoria tribe and I see Chief at least twice a month. He goes everywhere, to all of the departments. And he knows, I'm now the site supervisor, but he knows my teachers by name. So that's really hard and intimidating to go over your HR, who are awful, mean, intimidating themselves, and then talk to you guys. It's hard. You don't know who you're talking to.
So I do like the idea of an employee advocate. There's a component of that, and it might not be entirely covered, but one of the amendments that's proposed by the Constitution Committee is this body called an Ethics Commission. And the Ethics Commission would not be comprised, nobody from the BC would be allowed to sit on it. They would have a variety of governance and oversight roles for basically everybody not equal to the BC. Because we know the Grievance Committee has oversight and governance over what we do, what we say, and how we conduct ourselves. The Ethics Commission is a little bit different in that it would be that would be a body that would be responsible for basically all of the appointed individuals. One of the important roles, at least as it's proposed anyway, is that, you know, really personnel items, I don't know what the right word is, complaints or issues or concerns that might occur, basically go to the Ethics Commission to ensure objective, and that nobody is a biased party that would be a part of that process. And maybe there's some component of that employee advocate that could really help kind of administer that process. And I'm not talking about a bunch of bureaucracy. I'm just trying to make sure that we do the things structurally to ensure that all of our employees get a fair shake, because I think that's what everybody wants.
And
in addition to that, was it not passed at the general council meeting to have a tarot office established, which would do basically the same thing
It could.
if it was operated properly?
And also, to add to that, last night somebody had sent me a resolution that was passed by our general council July 4th, 1990. And it was an ethics resolution, and we had an ethics committee. So that is something else that we need to pull together because it's already been established. We didn't know about it because of how our records, exist.
That was general council,
Yes.
1990?
Yes.
Was that authored by Sonny Glass?
Hold on. This is the actual resolution that I am reading. Lewis Ballard was the chairman, Code of Ethics Committee. Members were also Nancy Tuthill and Jake Whitecrow, and the chairman at the time was J.R. Matthews. The vote was 119 yes, 18 no, and 0 abstained. It is a 3-page document. I mean, of course, it needs some.
Yeah, well, I was on a business committee, I can't remember what year it was now, but they passed an ethics resolution at general council one year, and it tied our hands. We couldn't do anything. And I took it to the public administration department at the University of Arkansas because we couldn't do anything. And because they didn't put a null and void clause in it, we were able to find problems with it, so we were able to throw it out in order to regain doing our job on the business committee. And I don't know what year that was, but I would look at that again because it became really a problem.
Yeah, if you don't mind, let's sit down and look at it because this is very vague.
Yeah, I don't know
It is
if I
not
know
in
what
detail. It's 3 pages. I wish it actually needs to be more. And I think, with what the Constitution Committee has drafted, I think we can get to something really quick.
Yeah, because
And I agree with it as far as employees and for us and for everyone. We need something. So, if you don't mind, thank you.
I was making reference to that because it really was a problem.
And we need to know what that problem is so we don't repeat it, going forward. Great discussion.
Yeah, because there was also another ethics policy passed. I'm going to mess up the year, just don't have it in front of me. Thank you. It was like
2005.
2004, 5, something like
2005
that.
for a HUD grant, yes.
But it still stands,
Yes, it does.
to my knowledge.
And
it was
it's a
never
little bit
revoked.
more into like political contributions and employee stuff. They both apply to both employee and elected officials, but we need to mesh it all.
Yeah.
Make something good and solid.
Well, it sounds like we have the bones
We do,
of
yeah.
something. We just need to flesh it out more. Okay. Yeah, good discussion.
Barbara, just to give you an update on the tarot office. So we've been working with our attorneys. We've got the first draft of the tarot code, and that's been sent to everybody for their opinions. I think we've got some of those back to the lawyer so far. Last time I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he was updating that code with some of the changes that were recommended. We'll get another draft back and be able to look at it, but kind of the way to set that up is we'll have to pass like a code. It'll become tribal law, and then there'll be a job description, job posting, and we'll hire that staff, that person, whatever it may be, however we build the department. But we have to have the code and resolution to establish that before we can move completely forward. So we are in the works of that. It is moving forward. It just takes a little bit. I mean, you guys know how lawyers are sometimes. They're a little slow. So no, they're busy, and we're just working with them trying to get it all squared away.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Who would tarot answer Just because a lot of what we're talking about is like perceptions, right? So I mean, I deal with perceptions all the time, but a lot of like these concerns are perceptions, and I think that whether it's Tara or the Ethics Commission or an employee advocate, I think that takes a load off you guys, that takes a load off HR, that takes a load, I mean, it's a beautiful process, but it's all gonna come down to perception. Like, if they answer to the BC, people are gonna say, oh, well, they're doing what the BC wants, or if they answer to you, I mean, how would they even answer the general?
Yeah, I believe the way it'll be set up, because it's gonna be basically tribal law, is they wouldn't answer to the business committee at all. It would be kind of a standalone department that will, I mean, it'll follow that code and be kind of its own, what is the word I'm looking, autonomous? Kind of autonomous department moving forward.
So their bosses would not be.
It would be, I mean, to the way I understand, kind of be general counsel, I mean.
It doesn't work if they have to answer to her and then they're scared of her, just like everybody else is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it should be, they should be answerable to, basically to general counsel. I mean, it was a motion made by general counsel to establish that. It's gonna be set in tribal law, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
I'll echo what she said about the Peoria tribe. I mean, I've never worked with the Quapaw tribe, but I've seen and heard things over the years. But I can tell you it's night and day what I see and hear over there versus what I see and hear from this side. And during the campaign, I talked to a lot of employees, and I'm appalled at how we treat our employees. And just the other day, this all came about 3 weeks ago. I talked to 3 or 4 people that were in a meeting where I believe it was the upper management QSA said that they were gonna have to start following the handbook. I mean, if we're not following the handbook already, what are we doing? And that seems asinine to me that somebody in upper management would say that to all the employees. But I mean, at some point, you guys have to decide that you're gonna take control and, where we treat our employees with respect, regardless if they're tribal or not.
He's right. It's night and day working at the Peoria tribe. I don't go in stressed. From the daycare comparing, like my mom did this for 26 years with herself and 2 others at the daycare. And I did the same thing with 7. So there's so much more support, and things that she's asked for has been immediately turned down. And that's why I quit, because I could not stand watching her come home broken. So I quit. And I'm much happier where I'm at with the Peoria tribe. And that sucks. There's a disconnect. So.
You know, I'd just like to speak on what Buddy was saying. I think just since I've been on this board, compared from the first year and then the change in the leadership, I think I was, in shock of how many employees forgot there was an employee handbook. There's policies and procedures in place. And many knew that there was also many that I think for years forgot to, well, I guess they didn't, maybe they weren't obligated or expected to follow that. So the chain of command was skipped quite a bit, I noticed. And after we had the chance to actually interview and I know I'll just speak on downstreams directors. It seemed like a broken record. And when we got to finally get to walk in and sit down with each one of them, it was over and over and over. I mean, I've said it and I'll say it all. I mean, it was like we were under a dictatorship. And now I think trying to turn and changes to the way that businesses should be run, There's policies and procedures in place. We need to follow them. And it's been very frustrating for me to see how many people would skip that chain of command and wants to just come straight to the board. And I do my best to go around to our different entities and get to know our people. I feel like we're very blessed as a nation to have who we have and the positions that we have. And I also I count it a blessing that I don't have social media. I don't miss anything by that. I feel like there are a lot of people that are very quick to judge. I'll speak for myself, that don't even know me. That doesn't have I don't know what the word is. Well, I do know the word, but I won't say it. I guess the guts to actually speak to me. They're quick to judge me, but they don't know me, and I am all about helping our employees and our members. I love our members, whether they work for our nation or not, but I have seen such a split these last couple of years for trying to get back to what we already have on paper. And granted, there's a lot of policies and procedures that we've been working on and that need changed and updated. I'll be the first to admit that, and I feel like we've made a lot of progress in that area. But unfortunately, I think we just still have some that are just set in the fact that they want to skip that chain of command and just come straight to the board. And it puts us in a position, because I think it causes divide among us, because some aren't willing to talk to everybody, some doesn't know all of us. So it's been frustrating, because I know I've had to say that to several people. We have rules and regulations for a reason, policies and procedures. Please follow them. So I could go on, but it has been frustrating to and we are working on a lot. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that we can't say, we can't talk about, and that's very frustrating, because you are getting judged pretty harshly for things that we gotta keep confidential. And I feel like we do our homework on this board. You may not be able to see that, but things are moving. There has been so many things. I feel like I've been on a roller coaster these last 3 years, and the things that I've discovered, things that we can't share, unfortunately. I pray that day comes soon. But it is exciting, and I appreciate Abigail's heart and her passion, because it is good to see a good group of people that I know that truly care about our nation. And I appreciate that.
For many years, people feared for their jobs.
Yes.
Under past individuals. A lot of people, and it was a snowball effect. It didn't just affect the people that were in that department particularly, or where they were, or how they acted. It came down to every department, to administration, to directors, to the ground employees, groundwork employees, because everyone feared for their jobs at some point in time. Now, has that improved some? Yes, some, but it still has a long way to go. And I think that anyone that's a true Quapaw by heart, just like she was speaking earlier, like Abigail was speaking, you're gonna care about that. You're gonna take that to heart. You're gonna think about the individuals that you're supporting, or the ones that need help. Just because something goes wrong, just like in the tarot or the ethics committee or whatever it is, you need to think about all the individuals that it's going to affect, because that too will have a snowball effect. Here it affects a mother and children and on down the road. So I hope that this business committee can take that into consideration before they make decisions, rash decisions, about any individual or anyone that needs help and guidance. This ethics committee sounds like a very good idea, and I hope that can be followed through with. apparently it's been begun, and I remember when Gary was speaking, it was years ago. And it didn't work at that time. So there's gonna have to be some changes made in order to get something to work, a program that will work for everyone. And sure, you're gonna have complaints and people that don't agree with you and have their opinion, but, there ought to be some way to, negotiate. You know, there's negotiators now even in public buildings and, departments, governmental departments, they have people that come and negotiate and help them, you know, get their problems solved. So I think that we can, you know, it sounds like a good start, but we do have a long way to go.
I do know Mr. My boys grew up with him, my daughter grew up with their sister. Mr. is a very outgoing person, I know for a fact he must treat his employees fair. What I don't like, sir, is for you, when you literally just sit in front of our tribe at the community room and you told them a face-to-face lie. That is unethical. It was concerning the bear settlement. The bear settlement, don't shake your head, Mr. Crane, plainly states when something happens, and you probably know this too, you cannot leave the money to anybody. It goes back into the pot. You and Mr. plainly sat there and lied face to face to you said, yes, we got that changed, you would go ahead and leave it to your 2 children. That was very unethical. And I've heard how you have bullied a business committee member, you didn't like the business committee's coloring. Perhaps she didn't like yours, I don't know. But I've only heard one candidate that I have spoken to whose concern was from the heart for the tribal members that are treated unfairly. They're not in the upper part of the tribe, they're in the lower part. And to me, everybody should be treated fairly, and I find that they are not.
Really?
Thank you. You were at that meeting, I do believe.
I agree with you.
But there is such a big contrast. Somewhere up here, and my family's way down here. Because when I was at a meeting, my sister right there, she is a half-degree pureblood. My father was a pureblood, full, one of the last 5 remaining full-bloods. My sister, I don't remember what the conversation was, but it was one of Mr. Berry's last meetings he conducted. She stood up as she was talking, and her grandmother told her to sit down, because she did not have a right to speak. She was not Quapaw, nor was she either Native American. You know why? Because our mother was white. And my sister replied, I believe your mother was white too, and she said, no, my mother was French. And my sister said, that's white. Now that is nothing but discrimination. And I find that it's not just my family, the Buffalo family, but there's a lot of people in this tribe who are discriminated against. And when a chairman sits up there and he preaches ethics and I tell a bare-faced lie to tribal members sitting there, sir, you owe the whole tribe an apology. I'm sorry to talk like this, but it's been building up. And when I heard Anna McKibben's talking about how somebody in her family was treated, I thought, you know, that lady, your grandmother sit there and when my father down, he was one of the last full pure-blood Quapaws. My family are half-degree pure-blood Quapaws. How many in this tribe can say that? But I don't think we're any better than anybody else because we were taught everybody is equal. God created everybody equal. When your first day on earth, everybody is born in sin. When you leave this earth, God doesn't care what you have, it's what's in here. And there was only one candidate that I spoke to who had the Quapaw tribal members at heart. He didn't have this and he didn't have that. But he told me the difference, and he felt how the people in this tribe are mistreated. Some are way up here and others are way down here. And sir, everybody's on a level playing field. I'm sorry to talk like this, but I think you need to pay attention to what you say. Ethics is very important. And I find that right now you don't have real good ethics. When you sit there and literally lie to a group of tribal people just to get vote. And it wasn't just you, it was also.
Thank you for your comments.
And you asked me to speak, if you remember, at the October Fest or whatever it was called, I told you thank you for all the benefits we received, because I think we received excellent benefits. And I said, I got tired of people wanting this and wanting that, and I said, come to business committee, see what's going on. They don't come. I think this is a great group here, because we're lucky to have this meeting. And you said, you know, you need to come talk to our business committee. I said, I will one of these days, but you want to hear what I have to say.
I will listen.
I could say more, but I think I've said enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Henry?
Yeah, what I perceive about everything is we're no longer a culture, we're a business tribe. That's the first decision you make. What was your culture do in the past? We don't visit each other. Where's the rest of the people? They should be here talking to each other, everybody shaking hands and getting along. And that way you would help you guys make decisions that you know that's what they want. Because you're culturally like that, not business mind. You guys have to keep that mind as a business. You gotta use culture too, and everybody else does. Yeah, we're business right now.
You know,
We're all gonna work on getting the culture back.
We used to be able to socialize and practice the culture when the powwow grounds was open. And now that they close it at night, you can't even get, maybe you're lucky to see somebody drive down with it, you know, wave at it, and maybe get some bit of information about the tribe or something, because you don't hear anything. They locked us out just so they wouldn't, so we wouldn't be talking amongst each other.
The work can run over and then back up. We've been talking about it.
Gee, I hope we get our own key. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I got just a couple quick announcements. Just
Joey?
Hey, bud. Just as a vice chairman of our officers for the church, our Native American church, the Quapaw Prominent chapter, just to let you guys know, and I don't know who else is going out too, but our fall meeting's coming up November the 5th, that first Saturday in November. Speak about culture and blood and all that. People could be the most amount of football there is, or the very least amount. And I've seen it go both ways, the people who actually been around and do stuff, and people who aren't even trying to know how to do more football things than the majority of everybody, so. Did you get the whole business and the ethics and all of that straightened out and lustered out? Maybe everybody's focused more on the grounds over there and come together to do some things.
Appreciate you.
Anyways, meeting's November 5th. I just wanna learn about it, come on up, at least once, you know what I mean?
Thank you. Go ahead, Zach.
I just
Go ahead.
wanted to say about my sister, her feeling the need to quit her job because she's been here longer than anybody, more than anybody up there, 26 years, and she has devoted her whole career and life to the Rangers, and she's had more trouble with and you know, she can't even come to you guys, or you guys have nothing to say to her about the things that's going on. She is, I've worked for her, and she fired me, and you know, you know, I mean, that's not that right there. But she is very, well, she cares about the kids, the whole tribe, not just not just the kids, but the whole tribe. She's got her whole heart into our tribe, and it was broke the day she quit. And she couldn't do it anymore because she's tired of being fooled.
Thank you.
I will add one more thing. I realize there's two sides to every story, but if you talk to your employees, you'll see there's a common theme in where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mr. Supernaw.
I have a question, I guess, for the business committee. This committee, or not, actually not this committee, it's different now, but the business committee passed a resolution that required or specified that there would be an equal distribution of everything. And included in that resolution was a specified formula for overseeing that distribution. I want to know why there's resistance to putting that wording in the legislation. And I have talked to some of you, and the reasons that I've heard frankly don't make any sense to me. So why don't you make that effort? Because I know the Barker Group is openly talking about distributing that money to only 53 people rather than the entire tribe. So that's my question. I don't expect you to answer here tonight, but I wish you would consider that, because we were told by business committee members that aren't here now that you can't be that specific in the legislation. We talked to the sponsor of that legislation. He said that's wrong. Okay, so let's leave that.
So I think to answer your question, I can't speak to what those 53 individuals are saying. I'm not privy. I'm not part of those individuals of what you refer to as the Barker Group. I will say that the business committee has made those efforts through enacting our resolution here on the tribal side to include specifically everyone. So just short of having that conversation with all of us face to face with the sponsor of that bill, who is now shifting over to the Senate side, it will take having those conversations again with the new representative who has yet to be elected come November. But I want you to know there's no resistance on my part or any other part of the business committee to include that.
Well, I did not ask you to speak for the Barker Group. I asked you to speak for the people of this nation. And you all have acknowledged that that resolution as it stands now doesn't have to be followed by the DOI if they make that distribution. So I encourage you then to talk to the new congressman and put that resolution in the legislation. said there's no resistance now, there was before. I'm hoping this group changes their mind.
Thank you, Cookie.
I'll go on with this if you want.
I'd like a clarification on the wording about the funds. If I know that those that are on the roll from September until 2019, not before, are supposedly, it's worded that every tribal member gets their money. But what happens, I'd like a clarification on the wording as to what was brought up just now about what happens to the money of that individual if they pass away. Because I figure I'll probably die before we get that money. And so is it going to go to your heirs, or is it going to just go back in the pot, you might say?
John,
Yeah, sure.
So the resolution that was passed last year, it literally says, you know, enrolled tribal members as of that date in September 2019, still living at the time of distribution. That's what it says. Now we're going to get into an area that, quite frankly, I'm not completely well versed in, and that is, that's a tribal resolution, okay? And depending upon how the final wording appears in the bill, that's probably going to trump, bad word. That's probably going to supersede anything that we pass at a tribal level, right? So that's what we've got to be careful about, is to ensure that, one, the legislation reflects the will of the Quapaw people, and number two, that we don't have anything on the books that's contrary to whatever that legislation is. So we're just going to have to continue working on the bill language, and more than likely in the House Natural Resources Committee as opposed to the subcommittee. Because my latest understanding is the language changes are not going to get done in subcommittee. So we're not going to have any choice but to go to the full committee to get that done and to reflect the appropriate specific language on how it's going to be distributed.
Yeah, that's why I asked it heretofore, like IIM money would go, if not by will, through probate to heirs. And so I just wondered if it was specifically the same.
Yeah. And I think we've got to avoid those disconnects, right? So that everybody understands what to expect and what not to expect.
Quick update on a couple things that's been brought to my attention. There was some stuff put out on Facebook asking questions about the walking track that was up at Downstream. Just kind of touch base on that. That is a walking track area for employees. That was one of the things when they talked to employees through HR and stuff that was requested time and time again, was a place that they could go out on break and walk safely, where they're not walking around the parking lot where they're going to get hit by a car, or at night possibly. You know, there's a lot of young girls and things up there that it's not well lit in some areas. We don't want them out there walking around the park. That's over in a safe area. You got security cameras, the fire station's right there, all the stuff there where security can monitor that. So that's kind of why that went in there. But I seen some questions on that on Facebook, and we just wanted to kind of touch on that. Nobody's trying to hide anything or hire any companies or anything like that. So I think it was all together, the total expense was like $12,000 or $13,000 for all the rock and everything that done that. So, and they did it in one day versus taking a lot of time. Maintenance did not have the equipment to do that specifically, from what I understand, to build that track. So they would have had to rent equipment and everything for that situation.
Myself made a comment about that issue, that it wasn't about the company or the cost, but about the safety.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I just had to learn to walk all over again, and I walk well, but no one that's elderly or not sure-footed is going to be able to walk on those rocks.
Yeah, and I think so. They packed them down. They took the top layer of dirt off, packed it down into the grass and stuff, packed it down into the dirt, and run the like cultipacker over it. So it's set down pretty tight. The rock is. I think long-term plan is at some point they'll probably go back in there like asphalt that track, but they want to see how much utilization, things like that's going to happen before they spend any more money on something. So another question that Weena had brought to my attention is there was I feel like kind of maybe a misunderstanding in a meeting about an ambulance possible order. There was not a contract or anything like that signed. It was what happened was that ambulances right now are about a 2.5 year wait to get those. So we had went on a list to get in line to have an opportunity to purchase one 2.5 years from now. So it gives us time to apply for grants and things like that. But if we wait for 2.5 years, when you're going to have to replace a truck, you're going to be waiting another 2.5 years with a broke down truck. So just kind of trying to head that off. Nobody committed any money. It didn't cost anything. There's no purchase has been made, nothing like that. It's just we put our names on a list to try to purchase an ambulance 2.5 years from now. So there was a misunderstanding somewhere where we had ordered a truck without authorization, and that's not at all what happened. There was no thing like that. We met with the CFO. He was involved in the whole deal. It was just basically calling and asking them, hey, we want to know in 2.5 years, we want our name on the list to have the opportunity to buy one. So the other thing was there had been a comment made about the fire station and the new truck they had just got. That truck, the comment was made that it was a $500,000 truck and it was ordered with no equipment. That is also not true. That truck cost $368,000. It was bought 2.5 years ago with Volkswagen settlement money, and then a little bit of it was budgeted to replace a truck that was from 2001, I believe. Some of the equipment from that truck it's replacing is going to go on it. The rest of it is on back order. So we didn't order a truck that's going to sit in the bay for 2 years waiting on equipment, stuff like that. That's not the case. It's sitting there right now. It just got delivered 3 weeks ago, and that equipment will get here at some point and be cleared up. So that was also not a true statement that was made, if anybody hears that. So just wanted to touch on that stuff. Yes.
Are we in need of another ambulance right away?
No, nope. We've been working with the CFO, or the fire department has, and what they're wanting to do is get it set up on a schedule to replace them, where in the past we've always been able to get them on grants, but it's hard to get 2 or 3 of them at one time on a grant. So we'd like to set it up over in the future where you're getting like 1 a year on a grant.
Well, what I was thinking was I saw Matt's over in Joplin had new ambulances.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they have some used ones that could be refurbished.
Yeah, no, we're good right now. We're trying to plan long-term in the future to get things set up, because what'll happen is we'll have basically 5 of them that are 2 years apart, because we got them on grants just like at one time. So.
I've got a handful of people on Zoom if that's a good time for that.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Sure thing. I'll go in order of people who asked. I've got Kelly Flanagan who asked first, so I'll go ahead and to mute.
Hello?
Hi, Kelly.
Can you hear me? I can't even tell if I unmuted.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, my question is not near as serious as everyone else's. But I was in Little Rock, I don't know, last month, 2 weeks ago, and I was driving down to Louisiana, and I did not see one single billboard for Saracen when I passed through Pine Bluff. And then on my return trip from Monroe, I went on a different highway, and there were no billboards pointing to the casino that way either. So I was curious as to why does Arkansas not allow people to put billboards up regarding casinos and whatnot?
No, we have had many billboards, even with the opening of our annex a year prior to the grand opening of our main casino. And there should still be some that are up. There may be an issue with changing over vendors and ad buys. So there may be a slight interruption as to how those are put up on the billboards. But I'll check into those. We'll check into that and follow up.
Yeah, because I know that when my cousin and I, Gina Lee and I went to the grand opening to Saracen, we actually were following our map on our phone. And I figured it was because it was just brand new that there were no billboards to point the direction. But if you're going up I-44 towards downstream, there's billboards everywhere for Buffalo Run, Stables, Quapaw Casino, everybody, and downstream. And I just felt it was kind of odd that there wasn't, you know, a billboard or something pointing to which exit to take to go to Saracen, because I thought it was a really nice place.
They
Really
even-
good food.
They even just changed the name of the road that it sets on. It's now what, Saracen Resort Drive or something? Yeah, so the street's actually named after it.
Yeah, and they're working on.
But shouldn't there be like a billboard or something off the main highway?
So there is, I know there's one right at the exit that says, I think it's exit 46. It says Saracen Resort or Saracen Casino, and it's a big brown state highway sign that shows right before the exit which one to get off on.
And they're working with the Department of Transportation to get the exit worked out better. Naming the roads, getting the intersections going, and visibility. When we build the tower up, you're going to see the name. So it's a work in progress, and I do know that their eyes are on it. But we will definitely follow up.
That's just what I wanted to know, because, you know, when you're coming out on I-44, because I drive up there to see my cousin Gina a lot, and, you know, it'll say 32 miles till downstream casino. But there's nothing like that for the Saracen.
Kelly, we'll have more information to present on that. Hopefully by next month. We'll follow up with the Saracen leadership.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You guys have a good day.
You as
Thank
well.
Thank you.
Next I've got Ann McKibbins.
Oh wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, I apologize for not being there in person today. I am in, I don't know what town I'm in, Oklahoma Union for my son. I live 2 hours away, so it's kind of hard personally to make it home when we live far away. But I wanted to say that your employee advocacy or whatever it's called, the chain of command worked really well. A relative of mine, he resigned and got his job back. And I'm very appreciative of that. He followed the chain of command, and he told me he came before you guys in open forum, or not, excuse me, in closed session, and was given his job back. And I appreciate that. He's a hardworking tribal member, and he's doing good things with his life right now. And I'm really proud that he's working for the tribe, and he is too. And his son was the star of the football game last night in Pawhuska, or actually in Fairfax. He scored an 80-yard touchdown, and it was a nail biter, 46-48. Bertram won the football game for Pawhuska, so it was good. But on to another one was another employee who was fired without cause by. And he was another person who got his job back following the chain of command and he went before the Business Community Association and got his job back. And some people have not followed the chain of command and just gave up and went on their way. And others, find employment elsewhere. But what I'm trying to say, as a former employee, there is a pattern that has been established here. And people aren't just complaining because they're disgruntled employees. The problem lies with and it's not just people who are complaining. They are very, very difficult to work for. And once they give it up for somebody, they will find a way to fire you, whether it's making up something as ridiculous as, I'm not even gonna make reasons up, but they do that. So today, I wanna make a motion to terminate. I said I want to make a motion to terminate.
So she can take it to some advisement, but we need to let the process work. I mean, like.
Anna, I hear you, but I don't think your motion is valid. It's not coming from the floor. But I also think that we should allow the process to follow through with the process that we have in place. As you said yourself, once it comes before the business committee, we have the authority, and we have done so in the past, to overturn these terminations. So I hear what you're saying. I hear what others in the room are saying as well.
I'm just curious, sir, why do those two people, when numerous tribal employees and non-tribal alike bring the same issues over and over and over, time and time again, why are they still employed by our tribe? And neither of them is a tribal member. Neither of them has a college degree. What makes them qualified to be employed by our nation? What makes them qualified to run the departments they run? It has a GED, it has a high school diploma, and is non-Indian. And I'm all for non-Indians if they can do their job, but she is unqualified in every way, shape, and form to work in our department.
So Anna,
She's never worked for a tribe before. She doesn't understand federal programs. She just doesn't understand anything about tribes.
Anna.
I need to do a petition to get a general counsel or
Anna. I really don't believe it's fair for me to wade into this, or for the business committee to allow this discussion in this format. These people that you're speaking of aren't even present. So I'd like to maintain what level of decorum we still have regarding this.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just take it up with my fellow tribal members, I guess. I'm a single mother, and I was given 5 days leave without pay. I don't get child support, and no one on the business committee cares that I struggle to make ends meet. And I work for the Osage tribe now, and I'm very thankful that I wasn't threatened, by her termination. I'm an educated Native woman, and I could go out and get a job anywhere else. And I'm very proud to work for Osage Nation now. He's present at every function. He knows every child in the O-Gah-pah school, the immersion school. He calls them all by name. He knows every employee's name, shakes hands. And he even went to a zoo field trip with my son's school. He goes to everything. He is very present at every ribbon cutting. You name it, he's there. And that is what a true tribal chief does. And I'm very thankful that he has done there. So, best of luck to the tribal employees at Quapaw, with Donna leading them up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also got Roman as well, so would like to say something. One second, just scroll through the chat here. Hey Roman, your audio's kind of cutting out. Yeah, we can hear you, but it's cutting out. Sorry, it's still, hang on, I can try to mute you and ask you again, but I don't know if that'll fix it. Hang on. Let's try again.
Maybe he could put his comment in.
Type.
Yeah, if you want to, if it's, you can try to put it in the chat and we can read it for you, unless it's too long. Oh, there we go. I think it might be better. Talk again.
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
A little better.
Thank you. So I've heard a couple of comments from fellow tribal members, and I would just like to, request that these tribal members and anybody listening or who feels the same, you have an opportunity to participate in how we ask the business community to govern, how you will be governed, how employees will be treated, and I'd encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities to show up and give your feedback in the sessions that are going to be coming up, because we want to hear from you. What we have currently in its form is stuff that we have heard from your feedback through all of the responses that we've gotten from the feedback for the survey monkey that we sent out to everybody and the written responses that we sent out to everybody. What we have now is directly from those responses. So we're listening and we would like to hear more feedback. The meetings that we've had in the past, there hasn't been much participation. Even people that we would expect to show up didn't show up for some of these meetings. And we just want to encourage you to take part in them, because this is, you have the opportunity to affect change. And I just want people to know that we're listening to that role. There's going to be opportunity to speak up on what we ask our tribal chairman and our other business committee members to be doing. I know in personal conversations with members on this business committee that they would rather be doing some of these things that folks are seeing and presenting here as issues. Unfortunately, what we have been doing is managing our business, and we have the opportunity to clarify and make that change and say what we want our chairman to be doing, what we want our vice chair to be doing, our committee members to be doing. If we want them to be showing up for these ribbon cuttings and personal events, we have the opportunity to ask them to do that for our governing bodies. So please show up for those. And then my last request in response to the tarot, if there is a code or policy that's coming down the pipe to the business committee, Constitution committee would like to hear what some of that is. Not that we're trying to change or anything, we'd like to be prepared on our end also with how to do that and integrate what we're presenting.
Yeah, we can. And back, we can probably forward that over.
The last thing is in the effect of current ethics procedures and ethics commissions that we're, things that we're going to have. We do have an ethics policy that's kind of been glossed over by, this business committee and previous rotation also. That's very clear in the resolution that this current ethics and conflict of interest policy is the policy of the tribe. So there's something that already exists that can be signed by this business, by individuals, and filtered down through different departments. And it's a place to start. It's by no means comprehensive or perfect or full, but it is a place to start, right? And I think that's what we need right now. Wow. These set someplace instead of looking around for directions that we have already. And that's from March of 2005. That was implemented. But that was it. My primary thing is to encourage folks to participate in these open discussions that are coming forward, because we need that feedback. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. And we'll definitely follow up with any code revisions or laws as it pertains to how the interplay with the Constitution Committee. So thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to make a couple announcements, please. We do have 2 live farmers markets left this season, October 7th and October 21st. The 7th, we'll be doing the Cancer Committee's chili feed. And then I also wanted to let you all know that we do have our food hub open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4. There's a little confusion with the naming of everything and our branding. So live farmers markets are on the 1st and 3rd Friday of the month. Of course, October will be the end of our season. But we also are open Monday through Friday, and we carry things such as Quapaw Cattle Company meat, our O-gah-pah coffee. We actually have our vendors that come in for our live markets and leave their foods and stuff there on consignment as well. So please come and visit us. We also offer a 15% discount for tribal members, so make sure you mention that when you check out. I also want to let you know that we received some money recently, and I'm going to be doing, basically water conservation workshops. So the first one will be October 12th at noon, and then the second one will be October 26th at 5:30. So if you want to call us on Monday to the farmer's market, give us a call, let us know you'd like to sign up. We'll do a workshop here, and at the end of the workshop, if you attend it, you'll be able to get a free rain barrel. They're decorative rain barrels, they're very nice. So I want to see as many people as we can. I'm going to have those 2 set up initially, but usually there's always going to be a couple that don't show up to each one. So I'll probably do a 3rd one in November. So just let everybody know.
Thank you, Michelle. Anybody else?
I'll say something. We're still open session?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, let me get closer to the mic so people at home can hear me better here. We have grown a lot over the years as a tribal nation. We're also in a time of great change right now. We have the work from home movement. We just came out of massive economical impact for everybody with COVID and the realization that some decisions of our past generations and globalization efforts is not exactly ideal. We're also massively growing as a tribe. And we're also trying to heal from the sense of betrayal of past administration that I know some people don't really feel like they betrayed us, but a lot of us do feel like they did betray us. And I also understand that the way it's set up and HR and they really can't defend themselves the way the confidentiality rules. I want to point out that even if we replace and it won't change anything. Because they are just the enforcers of our policies. And a lot of the realities nowadays don't fit with our archaic rules made by previous administrations. I think they were the right decisions at the time. And unfortunately, it's the burden of the current board to reshape our current policies to fit our new times. I don't envy you guys because we do have a sense of tradition we're trying to preserve. We do have a culture we're trying to preserve and grow. And we need to fit the people who are aging to not change their world too much, while at the same time trying to make it so our policies fit the new economy and new world we live in. We have a lot of people who no longer are local. So there is in a way, our community is being stretched like a web that's being pulled apart. And there's many of us who are trying to keep the community local and trying to build it up. But we don't want to sever those threads at the end. So I know a lot of you are in pain with these changes in these times. I know a lot of you are wanting people to blame, but it's the system that needs fixed, not the people. Just remember that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Canada?
Is there any more?
Yeah, that was good.
No more online.
If there's no other open forum issues, we're gonna move into closed session. And then we'll come back from that. Okay, if we could go ahead and reconvene, coming out of closed session, Madam Secretary Treasurer, if you could give a recap or.
Yes, there was one personnel issue that we discussed.
All right, thank you. Benediction. Mike, would you mind to pray for us? Sure.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, I come to you today. Thank you for this beautiful day here and all of our Quapaw people in attendance as well as viewing. We pray that you agree with all the decisions that were made today and all the expressions that were made today. We take all these under advisement. I want to say thank you for everything that you've given all of us at this time, Father God. With all that said, say amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Mike. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion by Secretary Treasurer.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.